يستفتيان وقال للذي ظن أنه ناج منه اذكرني عند ربك فأنساه الشيطان ذكر ربه فلبث في السجن بضع سنين وقال الملك إني أرى 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في رؤياي إن كنتم للرؤيا تعبرون قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين وقال الذي نجا منهما وادكر بعد أمة أنا أنبئكم بتأويله فأرسلون يوسف أيها الصديق أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون قال تزرعون 7 سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك 7 شداد يأكلن ما قدمتم لهن إلا قليلا مما تحصنون ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون وقال الملك ائتوني به فلما جاءه الرسول قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة اللاتي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم قال ما خطبكن إذ راوتن يوسف عن نفسه قلنا هاش لله ما علمنا عليه من سوء قالت امرأة العزيز الآن وصعص الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين ذلك ليعلم أني لم أخنه بالغيب وأن الله لا يهدي كيد الخائنين وما أبرئ نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي إن ربي غفور رحيم صدق الله العظيم.
التكبير. All right. As I said earlier, we are waiting for the speakers. Alhamdulillah, we have them any moment from now. They will join us. I will still continue with the unofficial session once we wait for them to take their seats. Some months back, ending the later part of 2018, Islamic Movement of Ghana organized a poetry competition among the youth in Ghana. And at the end of the competition, we had first to third, and we are pleased to have the third place. The person who placed the sound from the second capital of Ghana, that's Kumasi. It's a person of Imo Ridwan. I would like to give us a very short poetry recital or spoken word. I don't know if you can.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Imo Ridwan.
I'm a student of University. Anyone can count the seas in an apple, but only one can count all the apples in the sea. You see, before the creation of the heavens and the universe, there was only one, Allah, Rabbil Alameen, Al-Wahid, who made the sun and planted the stars like tree, Al-Ahad, the unique one with no need of slumber or sleep, Al-Halik, created you like moon for your moon, from the moon to the tomb, Al-Rakib is always watching you. Al-Musofi fashioned thee and gave you all your faculties. All praise be to Al-Hamid, to he that is perfect and complete. And glory be to Al-Majid, majestically honorable indeed. And why would he need money when he is Al-Ghani, Al-Razak, who fills the needs of even the birds and the beasts, while Al-Wahhab bestows his bounties out of love and mercy. And you can try to count all his blessings, but he is Al-Azim, while Al-Malik is the only king. His servants he doesn't need. Al-Hayy is alive, Al-Qayyum will never die, Al-A'la beyond the skies, and Al-Hakim the most wise, no lies. But why would they try to prescribe As-Samad a son, when my Lord has 99 names, and Jesus and one? Al-Hakam is the judge, As-Sayyid, Master Abbab. Waging war against Al-Aziz is like spitting at the sun. Allah is Al-Jamil, and laughter which is Al-Jamal, and he kneels before Al-Mutakabbir and stand up against anything. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm gonna do a piece on Ranga beans. The title is Great Queen, and this how it goes. Blowing away your emptiness, smoke, and sinking your stress in alcohol. Taking no prescribed pills for no illness at all. A free trial of escaping from reality, we say, but reality will soon catch up with you no matter how far you sail on the waves of fantasy. Damaging your existence for a lifetime insanity makes sense to you then living in reality. A contaminated sense of perspective embedded to your promise of relief just to appeal to your conscience. But how can you accept your own twisted definition of relief when you yourself are yet to experience what true relief really means? The more discomfort you go through, the more satisfying it seems. You initiated a signature for your death warrant the very first time you lost withdrawal, and now you have assumed the role as a walking skeleton of a time bomb. They count down to the second you exploded when you began. But right in the middle of the mind is a choice of choosing between being blown away to leave a trail of darkness behind and living your life to the fullest in order to leave a ladder for people to climb. What is more worth the pain? Leaving the world when the last memory of you was an ugly one, family and friends, living the rest of your lives in regret, knowing that you both could have come together to wipe that ugly poster from your face, but instead you chose to be a slave to your own desires, pumping the smoke, swimming in alcohol and abusing the tramadol, deciding to abuse your confused mind, mastermind deployed to destroy your own life, and you grew to become the Goliath slave, the David in you, and who knew? And who knew? And who knew that one day that innocent child will grow to become a scarecrow? But once upon a time, you had all these big dreams. You woke up in the morning feeling alive. You had an infectious smile. Your laughter was so loud, everyone got mad. You had a kind of glare that no one could deny. And you lost it all in a blink of an eye. This is what you should know. Understand and accept the present before you can grow. And looking for loopholes to elevate life so slow. Brace yourself for a change before you get blown. You can rise above the addiction, the loneliness and pain. So no need damaging yourself better for no gain. Break the chains of slavery you put yourself through. By ignoring the standard of happiness you compared your life against. You can start assembling your dreams once more. To see your inner self smiling again. And you can make that happen. When you first need to break free from fantasy and begin to embrace reality.
For every event, as religious as we want to be, we always want to begin in the name of Allah. We hope that the event comes to a successful end. This is a whole day event, and pray that you bear with us from now to when the event is over. So without wasting much time, we'd like to call on our brother Iddrisu Mohammed to come and give us an opening prayer.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. اللهم آمين.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you, Brother Muhammad Iddrisu, for such a wonderful opening prayer. But your job is not done. You are going to recite the Quran for us so that we can, have some tranquility and peace in our hearts. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. So please, can you do us the honor and come back here? He is an executive member of Islamic Ummah of Ghana. He's a student of Medina Institute of Science and Technology. He happened to be a former SRC of the university. I think currently he's the president of the JIMSA of the school too. So he has a whole buffet of accolades. And he's a reciter of the Quran and Imam too at the same time. When I begin to say it, it's going to take time. Bye-bye.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه لنخرجنك يا شعيب والذين آمنوا معك من قريتنا أو لتعودن في ملتنا قال أولو كنا كارهين قد افترينا على الله كذبا إن عدنا في ملتكم بعد إذ نجانا الله منها وما يكون لنا أن نعود فيها إلا أن يشاء الله ربنا وسع ربنا كل شيء علما على الله توكلنا ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. وقال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه لئن اتبعتم شعيبا إنكم إذا لخاسرون فأخذتهم الرجفة فأصبحوا في دارهم جاثمين. الذين كذبوا شعيبا كأن لم يغنوا فيها الذين كذبوا شعيبا كانوا هم الخاسرين فتولى عنهم وقال يا قوم لقد أبلغتكم رسالات ربي ونصحت لكم فكيف آسى على قوم كافرين. صدق الله العظيم.
التكبير. التكبير. That is our brother Muhammad Iddrisu. We'll go straight forward to introduce the chairperson for the day. He has been with us since time immemorial. He is one person who has been with us foot for foot. Not boot for boot, but foot for foot, inshallah. And he is my sheikh, my father, my uncle. He's been our patron. He's been our helper, he's been our guide, he's been our advisor, and currently he has established an educational institution that he is heading. He used to work with MTN, and he's also the co-officiating imam of Dar es Salaam Masjid in the airport residential area. Our chairperson for the day is Imam Saeed Mukhtar, and we want to take
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We give all thanks and praises to Almighty Allah. We thank Him for this moment. We thank Him for the good health and we thank him also for the ni'mah of Al-Islam. Without taking much of your time, I think the time is well spent. We need to go straight into the business of the day, and that is to listen to our Alhamdulillah, with all humility, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide me and guide all of us to a very successful program, which is dubbed the Islamic Dialogue, which is being organized by Islamic Ummah of Ghana, an organization that is very, very active when it comes to Muslim youth activities in the country. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to assist them and all of us into achieving the purpose for which we have been created, or we are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is to worship Him and to be people who build and construct and do not those who destroy. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to assist us in doing that. Let's all say Amen. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, sir. Those of us who have followed our conventions over the years know who Shekins. He has been our patron, he has been our supporter, he has been our advisor. Alhamdulillah, anytime we come to him, even if it's at the 11th hour, the Almighty Allah helps him to help us. So we want you all to say a prayer for him in your hearts, or anytime you go to sujood. In Islam, anybody who helps, you need to pray for those people. Seriously, dawah is not an easy job. So we ask the Almighty Allah to bless him for us and to help him more and more, inshallah. We go straight forward to the first speaker. Our first speaker happens to be my elder brother. He's my sheikh. He is my mentor. He is a role model. I see him from afar, and later we came closer, and Almighty Allah has blessed him. He studied at the International Islamic University of Malaysia. He has a PhD in some of the studies that he has done. I only read the name, I don't really understand what it means. Sometimes he tries to explain to me, and he himself realizes that I don't understand, but what can we do? He does have to move on further. He happens to be a lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He is also the consulting vice president of Medina Institute of Science and Technology here in Accra. So he spends half of his day, half of the week in Kumasi and half of the week in Accra. So you can imagine how hectic and long it is. Last 2 weeks I visited him in his office, and the kind of queue that people were in because they want to see him is very, very astonishing. Young man, wonderful speaker, Professor Muhammad Nair is our first speaker for the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. First and foremost, we give sincere thanks to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us and blessing us this much to be able to even come together in this particular program. So far, I can say it's one of the most important programs that we expect to have it every now and then for our community and the society. And having our sheikhs with us, I believe they are much more qualified to speak at this stage than some of us. But being students of knowledge, I think we will start to share just some ideas, Islamic dialogue as we call it. We'll start to share some ideas And we hope that, inshallah, when our scholars come, they will make things clearer. So students of knowledge will start before our scholars will take the stage. No doubt, when we look at issues, current issues in our community, and I will want to highlight this particularly because of the topic or the theme that we have for this particular gathering. Now, looking at main issues we have in our society, or if I should call it our Zongo communities, where we have the predominant Muslims, we are witnessing a whole lot of cases regarding we are witnessing a whole lot of cases in our youth when it comes to smoking, all sort of antisocial behaviors, and all sort of criminal activities. And of course, in our community, whenever there is something happening in a particular area, and it happens that the name mentioned is quote and unquote, I don't say a Muslim name, I rather say an Islamic or Arabic name, we attribute the person to our Zongos, and then we start to see all kinds of things. I will want to highlight and discuss or bring this matter forth for discussion. And I think based on our studies and analysis, the main source of our issues comes from our marriages. And let me go back to the family. We happen to have all sort of a number of marriages, I can say, in our communities. But let me ask one question. All right, just one question to all of us here. This is an experience I gathered throughout my rounds in the world, particularly Malaysia, Indonesia, and some of these Southeast Asian countries. Who among us has ever got or received a training that we call a marriage course before you go forward to get married? Let me see by hands if there is anyone among those who are married, if anyone has ever received a course called marriage course before you move further to get married. Obviously, I think so far I don't know, but I think it's going to be no one here because it's not our doing, our thing in Ghana. In Ghana here, there are things we don't discuss. You are expected to know it from nowhere. And you are expected to just be an excellent an expert in it. Yet these are, brothers and sisters, some of the main issues that lead to us having some of our brothers and sisters to be wayward or misguided in a way. So I would want to highlight some things that perhaps if you give a look at is going to help us. Issues with marriage before a person goes into marriage, and I'm looking at the Malaysian case, all right? A person goes for a particular training, and there are several things we look at. Now, first among those, when we look at the case of the Sharia, we will need to know before a person, let's say, gets into marriage or even to have family, we need to know and understand what the Sharia says particularly about marriage. And what the Sharia say about raising up children. Mostly, our scholars are doing their best, but this is what in the research area we say there is a gap. There's a research gap. All right, we tend to concentrate so much on something else, and we leave this aside. So I would want to highlight it so that our chefs can help us in our dialogue and our discussion. The issue with marriage, when we look at the perspective of the Sharia, there are so much that a lot of us are unaware. And we tend to live in our families with our wives and our husbands, in our, whether it's a nuclear or extended families, we are divorced and we are living in a divorced marriage. I don't know whether the term is a new term, because even for myself, I don't understand it. right? You are living as a husband and wife, but you guys have divorced a long time ago because of things that you don't know that we are doing in our marriages. The scholars will tell you in Sharia, they said there are some things that joking with it is serious, and the seriousness of it is also serious. That's what it says, the scholars say. You joke with it, it becomes serious. I mean, it's taken. What are you saying? Oh, I'm just joking. And you tell your wife, hey, I've divorced you, just go to your house. And people ask, oh, I was just joking. According to the scholars in Sharia, they said, when you look at fiqh ziwaj, is considered divorce. Many of our families, our parents, brothers and sisters are doing these acts. Now, when we go for this particular training, for instance, when it comes to the issue of Sharia, when we look at the rights and responsibilities of a husband or a wife, we are made to understand. This is just one among three. There are three things that when you joke with it, even the joke of it is considered serious. And the seriousness of it is also considered serious. So you cannot just say, oh, I wasn't serious, I was just joking.